Why must we keep making the same mistakes over and over again? Well, the answer is simple. Human ignorance, based on laziness and pride, together with an ever-present denial. Ignorance and its denial will, sad to say, lead us down the same road as it did in all past history.
64,000 is the median number of words per book. Average person reads about 200 words per minute. Simple math will tell us that is one book in 320 minutes. To accomplish this in 7 days, numbers say you would have to read for 45 minutes a day. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification button, like, comment, and share. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Book of the Week series. Every week as I read another amazing title, I share it with the world. My name is Igor S.F. Walker. Today we look at symbols, sex, and the stars in popular beliefs by Ernest Busenbark. So how about you slow down and relax? Reduce all that noise for just a bit. Make that choice and decide to listen. In this video, we look at a book revealing tremendous pagan influence on the modern day religion, customs, and everyday life of today. Stick around till the end. I will share with you some tools I do have and use that will help you tremendously in this game of life. Discover a way to find out what actually motivates you. What innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. I will share some tools to improve your self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management. While many individuals are interested in tracing back their family tree, few have sufficient curiosity to make an effort to learn the origin of their religious faith. The study of comparative religion has proved the common background or the source of all supernatural and kindred beliefs, the hidden knowledge which in far off times was conveyed by symbols is almost unknown to most believers. It is retained by a mere handful of objective scholars, and the heads of various faiths are not encouraging its study. In man's early efforts to comprehend the workings of the world about him, probably no phenomena steered his interest and his imagination so greatly as did the magnificent and mysterious spectacle of the heavens. In the folklore of Northern Europe and Britain, traditions existed from very early times in which the sun and the moon were personified in human forms, either as the heroes of simple fables or as mighty deities who were able to bring either good or evil upon the inhabitants of the earth. In ancient Mexico, the sun, the moon, and the planet Venus were honored as gods. The Mexicans shared their meat and drink with them, believing themselves to be their descendants. Many Mexican peasants still practice the old custom of throwing a kiss to the sun on entering a church. Sun worship existed in various times in Rome, and the annual festival celebrated on December 25th in honor of the birthday of the unconquerable sun was not terminated there until the death of Emperor Julian in the 4th century Anno Domini. In the 5th century, about 100 years after the Christianization of Rome, it was still the custom of the Romans to bow to the sun before entering a church. and to salute the rising sun from a summit of a hill. Worship of the sun and moon gods formed the basis for the religions of Egypt, Persia, and India, from Babylonia, from where they perhaps reached their highest, or at least most widespread development. The sun and moon cults spread throughout Southwest Asia and extended as far as Greece, Rome, and Gaul. If the ceremonies and sacrifices which were part of sun worship are much better known to us than those which accompanied moon worship, it may be attributed to the fact that moon worship was already being overshadowed by the spreading worship of the sun. At the beginning of written history, the Hammurabic laws so closely paralleled the Old Testament Mosaic laws that competent authorities concede that many of the laws which the Lord had supposed to give unto Moses on Mount Sinai were really in effect in Babylonia, centuries before the Mosaic period. Even the story of Moses' life bears a marked similarity to the King Sargon of Babylonia. And the biblical account of Moses now appears to have been adapted in part from legends dating to 3,000 years BC, or even earlier, concerning the great Babylonian king. Many of the customs and superstitions of the present day had their origins in beliefs which prevailed several thousand years ago. Although the subjects considered may appear at first to be unrelated, they will be found under examination to be products of the same mode of thought. In fact, practically all customs, myths, superstitions, and religions of the ancient world stemmed originally from a few simple ideas. If these Babylonian stories are as old as they appear to be, and no scholars question their age, it is apparent that they were known in Babylonia from 600 to 2,000 years before the date assigned to Moses. Possibly Abraham was familiar with them before he migrated from Ur to Canaan. It has been reported that when discovery of the deluge story was first announced, one great religious organization immediately leaped to the conclusion that it would be found to refute for all time modern critics who do deny the historicity of the deluge. Learned priests were sent hurriedly to the scene to make copies of the cuneiform tablets so that confirmation of the biblical narrative could be proclaimed to the world. But the project was abandoned quietly when the tablets were found to confirm the mythical origin of the biblical account. Those who found no relief from their pains and troubles in the world could still hope for a serenity and bliss in the world to come. Eventually, Deva and Shaitan, the Persian names for the cause of evil, became transformed by the Jews into devil and Shaitan, or Satan. And troops of angels and devils began going about their appointed duties. Adoption of the devil as the cause of evil overcame some of the contradictions in their older theology. But the method by which the Jews grafted the Prince of Darkness on their religion added some new and fatal inconsistencies. Both in Egypt and in India, the sun was sometimes represented differently for the various parts of the year. In Egypt, the sun was represented in spring as a child and in autumn as an old man. Osiris, or autumn, or Amun, was the sun when it has set and was hid from the view. Ra was the midday sun. In numerous myths, the sun god was conceived as flying through the heavens in a chariot drawn by 4 white horses. The Hindu version gives the sun god Surya 7 green horses. Because of its rapid passage across the sky, the sun was sometimes called in the Vedas the quick racer, the runner, or merely the horse. And one of the epithets applied to the Greek Apollo is hippo, meaning horse. While on Assyrian monuments, the sun god is sometimes represented as a man standing on the back of a leaping horse. In the fertility myths, the sun was represented as a handsome young god who impregnated the earth with his life-giving warmth and life, thus being the source of growth in vegetation and stimulator of the procreational activity which caused animals to mate and bring forth their young. Everywhere the sun worship flourished. The sun god was honored as the supreme deity, the father of all creation. In the light-darkness myths, the sun was portrayed as a powerful blonde hero who slew the serpent, dragon, or other animal, which typified the dark forces of the nature, the darkness of night, and the cold, dark days of winter. Throughout the world, the east, or sunrise point, was the prime direction, and it signified life, light, and birth. The west and southwest were land of the dead. Temples, cathedrals, and churches were oriented to the sunrise point at the vernal equinox, to the summer solstice, or the sunrise point for the day sacred to the saint to whom the church was dedicated. In the language of symbolism, everything in creation that resembled the presumed creator, whether in name, character, function, or shape, was supposed to represent the deity. As gods were invariable anthropomorphic, it followed that the creative powers of the gods were of the same form and character as their human models. Determination of the symbolical meaning of trees is complicated by the fact that in various periods and various places they have been featured of spiritism and totemism, as well as phallicism. As a face of primitive spirit worship, they were placed in consecrated grounds near altars and high places as representatives of the deity and as his dwelling place. This seems to have been the belief of Abraham when he sought God in the oaks and tamarisks of Mamre, and when he actually planted a tree at Beersheba. The worship of trees as symbols of male generative power was widespread amongst ancient nations, and it was in this sense the trees, tree trunks, posts, and pales became prominent in the worship by the Jews in Canaan by gods of fertility. On ancient Babylonian tablets and seal cylinders, trees are represented as symbols of the tree of life, or the euphemistic tree, which creates life. The religious exaltation created by the worship of the forces which do generate life caused the rites and ceremonies of primitive people to assume an extreme and violent form. With the impulsive, passionate people of the East particularly, nature worship frequently took an erotic form, with the religious side of the ritual being overshadowed by sacred prostitution, phallic worship, self-mutilation, and other extremes. As the creation of life, in a sense, overcomes or offsets the ravages of death, both abstract symbols and literal representations of the sexual organs came to be associated with life, fertility, health, and good fortune. There were the holy sacraments, which nature worshippers displayed in temples when carried in processions. They were believed to have the same power to ward off devils and malign influences, which in Catholic countries is attributed to the Holy Sacrament, for which reason the host is paraded around shrines in towns. The science of numbers was believed by the people of many ancient nations to be a potent form of magic, and was reverenced as an invention of the gods. Quite apart from their numerical and mathematical values, numbers were esteemed as symbols which revealed to the learned that divine order of the universe, the relationship of the volume and area of the triangle, pyramid, square, cube, circle, and sphere. It is maintained, revealed, that the periods of revolution of the planets, the length of the day, month, and year, a perfect system of measures of distance and volume, the distance of the Earth from the Sun, and other astronomical facts which are not supposed to have been known until many centuries after the pyramid itself was built. Furthermore, these values are claimed to be found in the teachings of the Bible, as well as in the proportion and the dimensions of ancient temples and monuments. Astrology originated in Chaldea, Babylonia, where it reached a higher state of development than anywhere else in the ancient world. From Chaldea, it spread westward to Syria, to Egypt, and later by way of Greece and Rome to Western Europe, where it continued to influence religious and astronomical speculations for centuries after the great civilization of Babylonia has ceased to exist. It has been shown that the efforts of primitive people to explain the origin and workings of the universe produced a philosophy in which the world was envisioned and deriving from a bisexual creative power, personified as a guide or god or gods, of whom the human male and female were the pattern. The male power was believed to be the active force in the generation of life, and the female power being the merely passive vehicle in which the actual production took place. It was further assumed that as the male organs of reproduction are of tripliform character, every act of creation has a threefold aspect. This belief appears to have been the source of the custom of dividing the universe into three great departments ruled by triad of gods. An all-powerful, an all-knowing God could have transformed the hearts of men by the mere waving of his hand. At least he could have devised an easier and a more practical way to save humanity, and a far more successful one than the long, painful method described by the gospel writers. But that would have made the task too simple, unless the object of their worship performed all kinds of marvelous and even ridiculous feasts. How would people know that he was the true God? This is why the creators of ancient mythology always endeavored to excite the awe and wonderment of the people by inventing roundabout ways and difficult tasks for their godly heroes, involving pain, hardships, persecution, and supernatural performance. Such tragic and spectacular incidents actually characterize the religious literature of every age and every country, and constitute the telltale trademarks of the myth makers. And there you have it: symbols, sex, and the stars in popular beliefs. Now please do help out. It is easy. Simply like this video so more people can enjoy it. Share it too and spread the word. Do leave a comment and share your thoughts. Subscribe to my channel and stay up to date. And the link to this book is in the description below, so buy it, read, never stop learning, especially learning about yourself and nature. So gift yourself by taking the free human needs test on my website and find out what actually motivates you. What innate human need is driving all of your decisions and your behavior. And if you feel you are ready to improve your self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management even further, then do check out my Master of Life Awareness program. The links are in the description below. Thank you. Love and respect.